my little bats, do you know that feeling when your dad says he's going out for cigarettes or milk and he doesn't come back for years? Well, Jin knows it, but today the drama is over because Varka has finally returned to Mondstadt. Look at the size of this guy. If I'm not careful, he'll use me as a keychain because I'm 158 and he is like a giant. Plus, he's almost certainly a fan of Attack on Titan, just look at him. Today we'll see if his great sword cuts as hard as they say, or if Jin will finally be able to take a well-deserved vacation. Varka is an Anemo DPS who uses a great sword, and his true potential lies in his skills, as we will use his basic attacks with Anemo and through his elemental skill, and this will count as elemental skill damage. His elemental skill allows him to jump by holding it down, but the most important thing is to press it, as this will put him in the German words that can be pronounced state, imbuing one of his red swords with Anemo and the other with a different element depending on the team members. These elements can be Pyro, Hydro, Electro, or Cryo in that order of priority. Once the skill is used, we can start spamming basic attacks until the elemental skill activates again, allowing us to perform an attack that deals massive damage. His burst deals Anemo damage in front of Varka, and also damage of the element imbued on the other greatsword. His first passive grants Varka up to a 25% bonus Anemo damage, depending on the number of characters on the team whose elemental influence is on him. This bonus damage is even greater if there are 2 Anemo characters and 2 characters of the other element, up to a 220% extra damage. His second passive grants a 30% damage bonus to normal and charge attacks, while his elemental skill is active and he spams basic attacks. The best weapon for Varka will obviously be his own, which in addition to increasing attack and critical, boosts attack speed with his passive and enhances his elemental skill. This effect is even better if you have another member of the Hexarai, making it ideal for him. If you are unlucky and don't get it, you can use 1,000 Blazing Suns, which is my weakest weapon, because it also grants critical and attack damage, with this effect being greater after using the elemental skill. As a last resort for a 5-star weapons, you can use the Wolf Gravestone, which also provides a lot of attack. If you don't have any 5-star weapons to equip, you can use the Serpent Spine, which also grants attack and critical damage, but keep in mind that this won't work as well if there isn't a shielder in the team, because this passive will cause you to lose attack damage. Another option could be the Tidal Shadow, which grants a lot of attack, but similarly to the previous one, here you need to be able to take damage and have a healer on the team. You can also use the Black Cliff Slasher, which also grants attack and gives you a little extra attack upon defeating an enemy, which is something you can take advantage of in teams that deal a lot of damage or damage very consistently. For artifacts, the best set will be a Day Carved from Rising Winds, which grants attack and an additional attack bonus when using basically any attack or skill. If you've also completed the Witch Homework quest, you'll gain a 20% critical bonus. Another option, if you are going for an Anemo Pyro build, is to use Viridescent Venerer, combined with Crimson Witch of Flames, to gain both the Anemo and Pyro damage bonuses. If you instead build a team with Hydro and Furina, and only if you use Furina, you can use the Malachau's Hunter, since it will increase your basic attack damage and critical strike chance when healing Varka. Look for Attack on the Sands, Attack on the Goblet, and Critical on the Circlet. For Susad, look for Critical strike chance, Critical strike damage, Attack, Energy Recharge, and Elemental Mastery. As a guideline for the stats, you should aim for at least 2,500 attack and 200% critical strike damage, or even more if you can. The energy recharge isn't that significant, so around 100 should be perfectly adequate, because you'll primarily be using the elemental skill and the special elemental skill. Varka teams will always need an Anemo, otherwise you won't be able to take advantage of his passives. Good options are Venti, Jin, or Sucrose, who can group enemies together, making Varka's small area of effect attacks more effective. Bennett is a must-have support on these teams, and ideally you should use a Hexaray member like Durin as a sub-DPS. If you don't have him, you can use another sub-DPS that can apply their element outside the field, such as Shanlin. If you prefer a Hydra team, you can use Mona or Shinkyu as sub-DPS, who also apply their elements outside the field. Sigewin as support, or Furina in both roles, which would also give you more flexibility with artifacts. For Electro, you can use Fischl or Iron to apply their element outside the field, or Yansan or Cookie as supports. Finally, you can build a Cryo team with Escoffier or Diona as support and Sehe as sub-DPS, which will also give Varka a little extra attack, although there aren't many options for Cryo as with other teams. His best constellation is his T6, which allows us to use his elemental skill way more often. Other very good constellations, though not as prominent, are his C1, which also gives us extra charge of his elemental skill, though only one, and his C2, which makes the elemental skill deal an extra hit.